Hi, I'm Beth from the West Allis Public Library, and welcome to a brand new Who HQ book club, where twice a month we will be reading a new book from the Who Was, Who Is, Where Is, What Is series. Today we're starting a new book. We'll be reading Where Is Area 51. Does anybody know where it is? It's in Nevada. Spoiler. All right, we'll start at the beginning. Where is Area 51? On June 14th, 1947, a ranch worker named William Brazel found a pile of strange items smack in the middle of an open field near Roswell, New Mexico. It included some wood, foil, and rubber. Where did these things come from? They weren't things that belonged out on the ranch. When Brazel went to town on July 7th, he told the local sheriff about what he had found, who immediately reported the findings to the U.S. Army Air Force Base nearby in Alamogordo. The sheriff thought all of these things probably had come from the Army airfield, which was just down the road. Makes sense? Right away, U.S. government scientists arrived to investigate. They said that the objects had been pieces of a crashed weather balloon. The Army Air Force had been testing large weather balloons in the area during a powerful storm earlier in the week. This made sense. But some people were suspicious. Men from the base had arrived so quickly and cleaned the site so well. Were they trying to hide something? If so, what could it be? On July 8th, the Roswell Daily Record printed a startling headline that read, "RAAF captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region." The RAAF, or RAF, was the Roswell Army Airfield. And the headline, although later corrected, fueled one of the greatest mysteries in U.S. history. Why would the newspaper print a story that wasn't true? The residents of Roswell began to wonder. Some people, including many who lived nowhere near the town, began telling stories of metal beams and strange objects that had been recovered at Roswell. They believed the first newspaper story was true. They said that the Army had removed all evidence of a flying saucer and its alien passengers. As years passed, many of these people came to believe the evidence had been taken to a secret government site deep in the Nevada desert. The site was 2 states and nearly 900 miles away on the edge of Groom Lake. It was referred to simply by its location on the map, Area 51, one of the most secretive off-limit places on the planet. Chapter 1, just a space on the map. Area 51 is located in the southern corner of Nevada, in the harsh Mojave Desert on the western United States. There were originally iron and silver mines and small mining communities dotting the flat, dry landscape that includes mesas, salt flats, and dry lake beds of hardened clay. In 1942, there were only 2 dirt runways on the property near Groom Lake. The area was used by the U.S. Army for bomb practice. The number 51 in Area 51 is believed to refer to the parcel of land as named on a surveyor's map created in the 1950s. So what that means is in the 1950s, surveyors would basically map out the land. So they'd kind of divide things up into squares, rectangles, just, you know, how a city is divided up. But instead of naming those parcels, they would just number them. So Area 51 was literally just a box of land that they called 51. I hope that made sense. So it was these types of lonely desert areas in the American Southwest that bombing tests could be conducted, including tests of the nuclear weapons used in World War II. The types of nuclear weapons that were being tested were explosive devices that released huge amounts of destructive energy. These included the hydrogen bomb and atomic bomb. The U.S. bases that developed these weapons included Los Alamos and Alamogordo, both in the state of New Mexico. Because even a small nuclear bomb can devastate an entire city, wide open and unpopulated spaces were the safest place to test them. The U.S. government also felt that the desert provided enough privacy for these top secret projects. Okay, I'm going to go back. There was a little blurb on the Manhattan Project. During World War II, the United States began developing the atomic bomb. This secret work was known as the Manhattan Project. The name came from the part of New York City where many of the scientists had worked. The team was also in charge of finding ways to spy on German scientists who were trying to create their own atomic bomb. Nuclear physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer was the director of the laboratory that designed the bombs in Los Alamos, New Mexico. The first nuclear device ever exploded was at nearby Alamogordo Range on July 16, 1945. In early August, U.S. atomic bombs were dropped on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, killing and injuring more than 100,000 people. Japan surrendered a few days later on August 15, 1945, ending the war. Okay, so Area 51 sits just outside America's only atomic bomb range, which was called the Nevada Test Site. From 1951 to 1992, nuclear weapons were exploded above ground and underground in tunnels and specially drilled shafts. At first, the site was called Paradise Ranch to attract employees. The Central Intelligence Agency, or CIA, conducted background checks on anyone wanting to work there. CIA agents asked each job applicant's friends and neighbors if they thought the person might be a foreign spy. The CIA wanted to be absolutely certain that everyone working at the site could be trusted. The land around the Nevada test site belonged to the Atomic Energy Commission. The U.S. government has always referred to it simply and mysteriously as an operating site, never acknowledging the existence of Area 51 until as late as 1998. Originally only 6 miles wide and 10 miles long, Area 51 came to encompass over 400 square miles of restricted land and airspace. Restricted means the area is very tightly controlled. A large military airfield sits at its center, on the southern edge of Groom Lake. This dry lake bed, about 3 miles across, has become a U.S. government landing strip for experimental aircrafts. These are new types of planes that are developed with the very latest technologies. Chapter 2. Gathering intelligence. Originally a lead and silver mine, the land inside of Area 51 was acquired by the U.S. Air Force from the Atomic Energy Commission in 1955. It was going to be used for flight testing, mostly by the CIA. The CIA collects and studies national security information from around the world. This information, called intelligence, is usually top secret and known only to a few CIA agents at a time. The CIA provides these details to the president and some cabinet members so that they can be informed and make the best decisions to keep the United States safe. At Area 51, besides gathering intelligence, the government was also working to create new metals, plastics, and rubber, as well as new kinds of aircraft that could not be detected by radar. They wanted planes that could fly unseen by enemy technology. These are known as stealth aircraft. Research for such a sneaky operation was a great fit for the CIA. Their agents were masters of working quietly behind the scenes away from public view. Area 51 is well hidden, sitting inside Nevada's high desert within a ring of mountain ranges. And there's another plus. The hard-packed clay of the dry lake bed can support the weight of any aircraft. By 1955, the base had a 5,000-foot runway, a trailer park where employees lived, 3 airplane hangars, and a few small buildings. The security was very tight. There was only one gate into the property. The base was not easy to access, and that's just the way the CIA wanted it. And because the United States was in the middle of what is known as the Cold War, the CIA wanted to move quickly to test and approve new planes at Area 51. Okay, quick blurb on the Cold War. During the period from about 1947 through 1991, the tension between the United States and the Soviet Union was called the Cold War. The Soviet Union was a group of national republics controlled by the central government in Russia. The fighting of World War II was over, and the word cold meant that there were no battles being fought. The United States and the Soviet Union, which had emerged as the 2 biggest superpowers in the world, began an intense period of spying and information gathering on each other. The Cold War was a race to have the biggest and best military weapons and technology in the world. Onward. At Area 51, the CIA was working hard to outsmart the Soviet Union. During the Cold War, there was a great fear of communism in the United States. The Soviet Union was communist. The United States was afraid that if communism spread to other countries around the world, more nations would become allies of the Soviet Union. It was a time of great suspicion between the United States and the Soviet Union because the 2 governments wondered how much each knew about the technological advances of the other's weapons. They both wanted to find out, and they began a long period of surveillance, close and constant observation of people and places. The United States was opposed to communism, which doesn't allow democracy. In a democracy, all people have the right as individuals to choose their own jobs and achieve whatever level of success is open to them. I'm just going to do a short blurb about what is communism, you might be asking. Communists believe a country's government should have control over how people live and work. A communist society doesn't believe that people should work to make a profit for themselves. The government owns factories and businesses, and the freedom of individuals, such as freedom of speech, is very limited. The United States, back to the book. The United States also believes in free elections and freedom of the press. It felt that stopping the spread of communism was the right thing to do. One of the ways the United States and the Soviet Union collected intelligence on each other was by secretly listening for information about their enemies. This was exactly the kind of technology that the US government had been developing near Roswell during World War II. Okay, so I will stop there for today, and we'll pick up tomorrow on Chapter 3. This has been Where is Area 51. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.